Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, pretty good indeed. Finally a home game for the national champs over 3 weeks into this 2013 season. And Tuscaloosa gets to enjoy its title rolling tide. The Crimson crowd gathering, celebrating on a cloudy day. The latest home opener here in 25 years. As we welcome you to ESPN College Football Primetime from the Grand Cathedral of Deep South football, Bryant-Denny Stadium. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. #1 Alabama has gotten over their biggest early season hurdle. Now they come back home looking to stay the course against Colorado State. As we say, good evening, everybody. Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen. So glad you're with us to see #1 tonight. Well, Nick Saban says we're still a work in progress. That Texas A&M game was an absolute thriller. There are some deficiencies, according to Coach Saban. We'll talk about those in a moment. We know where there isn't. They are elite at quarterback with A.J. McCarron.
Well, the one complaint that Coach Saban has, and there are many, is that they're inconsistent. But where they're not inconsistent at all is at the quarterback position. In fact, it is the most consistent position on the team. Tess, remember where he's come from. Each and every year, he's taken another step. Right now, he is a quarterback in control of his team. He's the undisputed leader. He's the guy they count on when they need a big play. In years past, they went back to the running game when they needed something. Right now, this coaching staff puts the game on his shoulders, and that's the highest compliment a quarterback can have.
Yeah, when you talk about the criticism from Saban, folks, that's why they're the best team in all of college football the last 4 years. That silly label of game manager, it has been shed, as you said. A.J. McCarron, the best interception ratio ever in college football history. 1 interception every 84 attempts. And you look at the school list. He comes in today #2 in the career passing yard list. Defensively, Matt, they gave up a chunk against the Aggies. But that was against Manziel and the up-tempo. This defense is very good, but not without some concerns, especially at cornerback.
Yeah, and they're legitimate concerns because in addition to cornerback, they don't really have a real pass rusher, and that also contributes to their lack of having a secondary. Now, the safeties are strong, but the outside guys, the corners, they struggled. Last week against Mike Evans, he put on a clinic, almost 280 yards. The big body is usually not a problem for this Alabama secondary because they like to have big corners. They don't have them right now. What they do have is a guy they have a team that'll compete. And Coach Saban had to do last week something he rarely does, and that is change how he calls the game.
Bama allowed a school record 628 yards to A&M, most they've ever given up in school history. They gave up 42 points, most points allowed in a win. Alabama, of course, though, has led the SEC in total defense the last 5 years. Their defensive coordinator, Kirby Smart, told us yesterday, he said, guys, we're thin at defensive line. We don't have the dominant corner. That's not like us. And when you ask him about what's the concern with Colorado State, any of the coaches will tell you it's their head coach. Obviously, personnel-wise, most read this the same way. It's a mismatch of talent. But Jim McElwain was the offensive coordinator for 2 of those recent titles right here at Alabama.
Which means he's gone against Nick Saban and that defense every single day. And that also means that he knows intimately how the defense is run. Not necessarily schematically, but the rules of the scheme. I'm going to tell you something right now, Tess. The rest of the SEC will study this game today to see how McElwain attacks this defense of Alabama.
Jim McElwain, the 2-time national title winning play caller, now in his 2nd year with CSU, and he's standing by with Maria Taylor.
Coach, you've been back at Alabama for a little over 24 hours. How would you describe your experience so far?
You know, so far it's been it's been a great experience for the organization and all our players, and now it's time to go win a ball game.
Well, it's only been 2 years since you left Alabama. How do you plan on implementing that knowledge you have about the strengths and weaknesses of this defense?
Well, they do a great job, obviously, and top defense in the country year in and year out. And, you know, we've got a few things up our sleeves that, you know, I know they don't like, so we'll give it to them.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Guy they affectionately call
pretty good.
Mac. He's ready for it. And he's opposite the only coach to win 4 BCS championships. And Nick Saban stressed this week, Players need to have the discipline to trust and believe in the way coaches want things done. He wasn't too happy last week with running back T.J. Yeldon. Got an unsportsmanlike penalty for a post-touchdown gesture. T.J. issued an apology. Saban was furious, saying that's just not us. It's not who we are. And we'll see early on here, because there have been reports that T.J. Yeldon may be seated here when things start off. Alabama won the toss and will receive. First meeting between these schools. Just the second time Colorado State has played the #1 team in the country. Back in 04, they took a visit to LA. And they were down by then #1 USC. Jared Roberts will come on to kick off. And the dangerous Christian Jones and DeAndrew White will be back deep for the tie. And we are underway in T-Town. Christian Jones from inside the 5. And Jones battles his way out to the 25 as A.J. McCarron, the senior quarterback, the 2-time BCS national title winning quarterback, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns last week against those Aggies.
You know, Tess, a lot bigger guy when he's suited up. When you watch him at practice the other day, you could see his size. But when I went out there right before the game, he's a big kid, man. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was.
And it is Jalston Fowler as the running back, so T.J. Yeldon does not get the start. And Fowler is going to work that right side. The big back for Alabama stacked up by the Rams, and Corey James, their outside backer. The impact players are brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, when you take a look at this Alabama offense, there's 2 guys that jump out to me. Amari Cooper, he's special. He can be he can be an All-American. Kenyon Drake is a guy who's untapped. I think, to be honest with you, he's their best running back. Shaquille Barrett is kind of a defensive end / outside linebacker. He's got a little bit of game to him. He's got some meanness. That's the guy who's going to have to bring some pressure.
Likely to see some of Kenyon Drake in the backfield today, as this is Kenny Bell out past the 40-yard line for an Alabama first down to the 42.
Tess, in order for this Colorado State team to hang here, they're going to have to get some kind of a rush out of their down 4. That's a tall order. You're going against one of the best offensive lines, and this is just, you know, it's kind of a young offensive line. 3 new starters. But the pieces of the puzzle are all there. In particular, their left tackle, I think, is one of the top tackles in all of college football.
Cyrus Quanjo, big number 71. Play action now for McCarron. And he gets it to his tight end, O.J. Howard. And O.J. Howard is a long strider. This is maybe the one X factor on Alabama this year, the freshman tight end.
And Tess, he's getting better and better with every rep. Keep in mind, this is only the 3rd game that they're playing together. But this kid right here, he's got Ozzie Newsome-like skills. Tall, can really run, has great instincts in the pass game. He's a big plus for this offense.
23-yard reception for the 6'6" freshman tight end. Fowler's going to work the middle this time. And he's able to get about 3.5 yards as he was tackled by Kevin Pierre-Louis.
Test their defensive end, Shaquille Barrett. We talked to him about him as one of our impact players, but here's the father of 2. He's a guy who's got a great motor. Talking to Joey Porter, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, who's now helping the coach here this defense. He said this kid, he's got it. He's got a nice mean streak, and he's got a chance to be able to be a special pass rusher.
Single back. Two tights here on 2nd and 7. Fowler gets it again. And Fowler was met just beyond the line of scrimmage that time by Aaron Davis.
There's Joey Porter, former All-Pro. Slimmed down a little bit. I had a chance to talk to him before the game, but he brings the same intensity that he played to his coaching. He absolutely loves it.
Great story with Porter, of course, great NFL career, but now a student assistant coach getting his degree at Colorado State. 3rd and 4 for the Tide here. Incomplete as he was overthrown looking for Kenny Bell. It was Shaq Bell who had pressure, and you saw that green line on the field. That was the field goal range that they are within for Cade Foster, the senior place kicker.
What they had right there was a corner blitz, and that's a little bit of McElwain right there.
Spent some time with Foster pregame. He hit from 53 yards. Remember, he was the long range specialist his first 3 years here at Alabama. This a 46-yard attempt. Career long is 52.
Thank you very much.
And it just snuck off to the left that time. So Foster misses his first attempt of the evening as the Colorado State defense did a nice job on that 3rd down. Jim McElwain back in town here. His Rams with the ball when we return to Tuscaloosa. Over 101,000 inside Bryant-Denny, and still a few outside enjoying the festivities early on here in Tuscaloosa. Impact Players brought to you by Chick-fil-A as Colorado State will have the ball for the first time.
You know, for those of you who don't know Colorado State, they got a couple kids, Gilmore and Cartwright here. They are interchangeable. They're very versatile. They're guys who can give Alabama a problem with their safeties and their backers. And that's really the strength, because C.J. Mosley, Vinny Sinceri, two of the more accomplished players in that defense, I think, are outstanding players.
You'll see them in 2 tight end formations a lot. Now they go with a diamond formation with Garrett Grayson as the quarterback. And they go to slant to the near side. The lone receiver who stayed on the near side, that's Rashard Higgins. So Garrett Grayson is the quarterback for Colorado State. He's a junior who they feel continues to get better, more of an understanding of what Coach Mack really wants, and that's valuing the football.
Thing that he does very well, if he doesn't get a lot of pressure, he can throw the ball now. And he's pretty accurate. And this kind of plays into what Alabama doesn't do very well. They don't rush the passer very well.
Here's Woke on 2nd and 1, and a first down for the Rams to get their night going. Chris Woke, 6 foot, 216-pound senior. And he's a fast power back, not a make you miss kind of guy. They'll work him between the tackles. Pistol formation with Grayson and Woke. Going to throw back against the grain, and that was dropped by Joe Hansley.
Hansley's the guy who they really have a depleted receiving corps. And Hansley is the guy that Coach McElwain was hoping was going to be able to kind of elevate the rest of them. Not a real big guy, not an overly fast guy, but a dependable guy. And that last time, he just, dropping the ball is not one of the things he normally does.
2nd down and 10. And that was batted right back to Grayson by Vinny Sinceri. The do-it-all safety for the Tide coming in that time against Grayson.
And so Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, understands that Jim McElwain knows their scheme. He understands that he knows. So he's going to do a couple things different. In this particular time, that goes right back to him. It's Vinny Sinceri coming off the corner with a batted ball.
So Grayson completes a pass to himself for -5 yards.
Should have dropped it.
3rd and 15. Pressure coming, tried to escape it, and then was taken down from behind by Jeffrey Pagan. And that'll send Hayden Hunt on to kick. And Hunt's got a big leg, averaging over 45 yards a boot. Christian Jones back for Alabama. He had that great start when he was a one-man show opening week against Virginia Tech. Here's Jones. So A.J. McCarron is going to get his second at-bat of the night when we come back to Tuscaloosa.
McCarron, play action. Gonna go deep. Got it. Touchdown.
McCarron makes it look so easy.
Touchdown, Alabama.
McCarron firing. Touchdown.
AJ steps up. He's going to run it out. He's in for a touchdown.
I really think the sky's the limit.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering.
They're very friendly with the local jeweler, Matt. They collect rings down here, and there is the crystal as well, the coach's trophy. No team's ever won 3 straight national titles in the modern poll era. That's 1936 forward, but here is #1 Alabama, sitting pretty this year with a chance to do so. Here's Kenyon Drake, the guy you like known. He's eaten up in the backfield that time by Aaron Davis.
Aaron Davis saw it coming the whole way. That was just a great play. You're going to see him come from the top of your screen. He's just going to come inside out. Watch Barrett. He does a nice job of setting the edge, and then here he comes. Davis, he comes full speed.
He just ran past Ari Kwanjo. Came flying in against Kenyon Drake.
Barrett made the play. Davis made the tackle.
Second and 12 as McCarron will work out of the gun here. Plenty of time. And that's to the outside, incomplete. Let's check in with Wendy.
Yes, thanks a lot. We check in on Texas A&M, of course, coming off the loss to Alabama last week in College Station. The Aggies up 7-0 in the first quarter over SMU. That game currently airing on ESPNU. Tess?
Boy, I'll tell you, Nick Saban had a lot to say about Johnny Manziel when we met with him yesterday. You talked about Mike Evans, their outstanding receiver, and what he did against Alabama's corners. But, you know, Saban quick to say we wouldn't have defended him that way if it wasn't for #2. Here's 3rd and 12. And McCarron gets it to Vogler. And Vogler breaks free for a moment there, but he's going to be about 4 yards short of the sticks to make as Kevin Pierre-Louis came in to make the tackle. So here's the Colorado State defense again standing up.
Tess, I'll tell you what's showing up right now. There's a couple of attitudes. I asked Joey Porter before the game, do you have any dogs out there? Do you have any guys who will go hunting? And he named a couple guys, and they are. You saw Davis. You saw Barrett. These guys are coming. They got playing a little bit of attitude. I'm liking that.
Tony Mandel on to punt away to Tyree Simmons. Feisty group from Fort Collins making their way down here to Tuscaloosa and playing some defense early. Came after that Mandel punt, but look at this skyrocket. All the way down to the 12-yard line, and that was good coverage that time by Landon Collins. One of the big recruits from a couple years ago, defensive back, who raced down the field to make the tackle there. Marty English in that Rams defense doing their job early on here in Tuscaloosa. Chase for the Sprint Cup continues Sunday in New Hampshire. Sylvania 300 at New Hampshire. It's Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Points leader's Matt Kenseth. He's looking to build on his momentum, trying to keep Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson from gaining any ground. That is the Sylvania 300 at New Hampshire, Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Talk about hitting the accelerator. I just peeked at that Baylor Louisiana Monroe score. Baylor's got 70 up on them. They're still playing that game. Here's Grayson, play action with time downfield and gets it complete to Hansley all the way out to the 40-yard line. Good start for Colorado State. 27-yard reception.
You notice on the outside you got some young corners out there, and they're going with the hurry up right here.
Little up tempo now from the Rams, giving them a bit of everything here. Woke with a good gainer out past the 46-yard line, taken down by C.J. Mosley.
So Dion Blue is out for the as one of the corners. He's hurt. Fulton's not getting a start, so you got Eddie Jackson, number 4, on the outside, and
Bradley Silves been in there.
Yeah. These are just young guys. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore.
Donnell Alexander now the back in the pistol formation on 2nd and 3. Play action, rush comes. Grayson steps up, and he's only going to get about a yard that time as he was taken down by Adrian Hubbard.
One thing that Alabama will do, and they do it extremely well under Kirby Smart, is like I mentioned, they don't have a pass rusher test, but they will attack your protections. And so once they zero in on what you're trying to do, then they'll start to attack it. Usually you'll attack a guard or an inside guy who's not very good in terms of lateral movement, or if you can get them into a protection where a back is exposed, then you'll bring a guy one-on-one off the back.
3rd and 2. Alexander stacked up, never had a chance, tried with a second effort, but it'll be 4th down. That was Pagan again coming in with the tackle. Punt team will come on for the Rams.
It's a big stop right there by that Alabama defensive front. That's the 2nd time that Pagan's come up with a big play on 3rd down.
Punt comes back on to punt. Christian Jones putting those heels on the 10-yard line. And the fair catch at the 15. We still got zeros on the board down here with number 1 Alabama. See if AJ and the gang can change that.
Yeah, that's my kind of night.
Scoreless between Colorado State and Alabama. Game being played in the week of those tragic floods in Colorado last week. And you can see the helmet decal that CSU is wearing to recognize flood victims, and as well as the rescue and recovery personnel in the wake of the floods that took 7 confirmed fatalities, 3 missing, 82 people unaccounted for as of midday Friday, 200 miles of state roads and 50 bridges affected. Just look at that video and you think about what so many in this Colorado State team and their fans and extended families have been dealing with over the course of the past week. Here they are now playing some inspired football early on against the defending national champs. First down Alabama, just at the 16-yard line after forcing that last punt. And McCarron once again goes to O.J. Howard, who gets it just past the 20. Let's check in with Maria for more on the floods.
Well, guys, the city of Fort Collins, where Colorado State is, was actually spared a lot of the hardships some of the communities to their south, east, and west had to endure. But for linebacker Shaq Bell and Stephen Michael, they actually had to endure a 2-hour drive to campus because of bridge closures and road closures. So that is something that did isolate some of the players. Also, they were forced to be at the practice in the indoor because of the facilities in the outdoor.
Yeah, Marie, and Coach McElwain really encouraging all Ram fans to assist in any way they can with local help. Here's 2nd and 5, and once again looking the tight end's way, and it's right on the sticks that time to Brian Vogler, the junior 6'7" tight end. And there is Shaq Bell, and Maria referenced, the senior cornerback.
I'll tell you one thing right now, this Colorado State defense, they're not impressed with Alabama. They're not afraid to walk up and play tight man coverage. When they play their zones, they're they're giving room underneath and doing what they have to, so they're showing good discipline.
Play action on first down for McCarron. He's going to take a shot to DeAndrew White, who goes leaping into the air and comes down with it.
Watch him working on Blake. Blake is just going to, right there, that double move, that's where he got beat. And White gets on the top side of him. Nice recovery by Blake, but not before a big first down.
35-yard reception. Remember last week, White was on the receiving end of that first half flea flicker touchdown against Texas A&M.
Keep moving. Keep moving.
McCarron's a pass on first down. Pressure off the edge. He goes downfield, and this ball is complete this time to Christian Jones as he was fighting for extra yardage, and here comes some friends to help him along.
I like Fowler. Fowler looked like a missile flying in there. And he wouldn't go down. Oh, Christian Jones, he had that fight in him.
28-yard reception to Jones.
Tess, they came with pressure off the top side. Here's Barrett working on Quanjo, but there's two guys coming and the free hitter. McCarron knows he's going to get hit and throws a strike to Jones, but watch the fight at the end. He refuses to go down, and here comes Fowler.
Christian Jones has 4 guys around him, and he's standing his ground. Fowler the lone back here. They get the first down call, and good paddle efforts that time for Fowler as he gets down towards the 8-yard line where he met Aaron Davis. So A.J. McCarron, they were off to a bit of a slow start, and then all of a sudden on this drive, finding maybe 3rd or 4th gear, going 4 for 4 for 73 yards.
Tess, I mentioned it at the start of this game, and it's one thing that bears repeating, and that is you can see the difference. Now, when I watch games, I watch to see what the coaches do with a player. And in previous years, they didn't always put the game on McCarron's shoulders. But last year at the end of the season and now into this season, they put the whole thing on him and let him go with it, and he's responded well.
Fowler running straight into that line, and once again, stout as Colorado State was Shaq Barrett.
Shaq Barrett with a nice play, and Aaron Davis again. Aaron Davis is playing himself a heck of a first quarter here, number 37. Very aggressive. He is just throwing his body around. I like the way he's playing.
So it'll be a 3rd down and 7 here. They can get a first down at the 2-yard line.
Tess, usually when you get a backer like that who's that aggressive, you play action right at him, and you make him come in and dump it right behind him.
They're going tight with the formation with the 4 receivers, and out of the gun is McCarron on 3rd and 7, flanked by Fowler. McCarron with time. And he's able to get Bell. It's going to be close, depending on the spot. Remember that yellow line you see there is unofficial. I think he's a yard short. Indeed he is, as Aaron Davis was able to quickly get to Bell with the tackle. So it's a 4th down for Alabama.
Aaron Davis did a phenomenal job of maintaining his discipline and staying back, not biting on the underneath stuff, and then coming down and making the play. And here comes a 4th down test.
So Doug Nussmeier, offensive coordinator. See what he goes with here as Brian Vogler, the 260-pound tight end, has come in. Drake is the lone back here. 4th and 1. Straight ahead for Drake. And touchdown, Alabama. Drove those legs straight through and in.
Because I personally think that Kenyon Drake is the best runner on this team.
Remember, you're not seeing T.J. Yeldon tonight because of a coach's decision to not play him here early after the unsportsmanlike penalty against Texas A&M. So Fowler got the start, and we've seen Kenyon Drake. "85-yard drive, and Bama's up 7-0. 2nd rushing touchdown of the season for Drake."
I'm Wendy Nixon, our college football studios with a Taco Bell Live Moss moment. A check on Johnny Manziel, taking lemons, making lemonade. On ESPNU, Manziel looking, can't find his number, so calls his own in for the touchdown, and the Aggies lead SMU 14-0 on ESPNU.
Thanks, Wendy. Alabama. First quarter comparison. Who would have thunk it? Colorado State tonight, 3 possessions, had the missed field goal to punt the touchdown. Last week against Texas A&M, you know what they were able to do in what was a back and forth offensive showcase. That's Thomas Kaufman. Back to receive the Cade Foster kickoff. 7-0 tied as Kaufman will take it from the 2. And he was met. Boy, was he, by Christian Jones, playing a little special teams. You'll see some of these headline players on special teams when you come watch the Tide. And Kem, next summer, when you talk Alabama football and the rest of the SEC, you're going to have a new network and a new home for daily coverage. It's the SEC Network, launching in August 2014. For more information, you can go to getsecnetwork.com. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be burned into my TVs at home. I'll sit home all day long before I get on the airplane to meet you and watch the SEC Network. Here's Garrett Grayson on first down. And that diving effort goes incomplete as he was looking for Joe Brown, the H-back. Of course, the SEC in the dominant role. You go back to that 05 Texas team, and then Leak and Tebow. That jumbled up year of 07, and then the recent dynasty of Alabama, only to be interrupted by Cam Newton and that 2010 Auburn team. And can it be 3 in a row for Alabama? They got over the first major hurdle of the year at College Station. Capri Bibbs, the lone back here on 2nd and 10, and Bibbs nowhere to go as Adrian Hubbard read it with ease.
So Tess, as this quarter comes to a close, one thing is starting to pop up, and that is you're starting to see the physical side of that Alabama defensive fronts taking advantage against a smaller offensive line.
That is the end of the first quarter. 7-0 Alabama, the Drake rushing touchdown. All we saw as TJ Yeldon may be ready to get some playing time when we come back. Stay with us. Glad you're with us here from T-Town as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Look at that painted sky we've got here in Alabama on a late summer evening. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, and Maria Taylor here in Tuscaloosa to start the second quarter with the Tide having a 7-0 lead. 3rd down and 10. Here's Higgins with blockers in front and a good spirited run for a first down for the Rams to the 35.
Ready to run with your eyes with Higgins. He picked up a couple of blocks on the outside from his fellow receivers and was able to create that lane to the inside and sets up a much needed first down. They have some skill people. They just don't have enough of them.
18 yards on that 3rd and 10. Grayson with the screen to Kaufman, who gets one move to the outside before he's run out by Sinceri. There's a gain of about 3.5 yards.
If Colorado State's going to do anything, they're going to have to do it on the arm of Grayson. Watch. See if there's now a little bit of a face mask. Yes, there was, just right there.
That was Geno Smith. So Geno Smith getting into the game here after his offseason troubles. Mark him out for a 2-yard gain that time. 2nd and 8, and once again looking the tight end's way. A flag is down as Cartwright was pushed out of bounds just beyond midfield. We'll check on the flag.
Cartwright's one of the guys we talked about at the H of the tight end that they want to use to be able to get into the flat. You saw the play action to the inside and then dump it quick to the outside in the flat.
Ineligible receiver number 25 offense was not on the end of the line of scrimmage and went downfield. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
Got an SEC crew being led by Mark Curls, as he was knowing that Joe Hansley was not lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage. Obviously, you need to be in the backfield if that's the case to become an eligible receiver. Only the 2 guys at the end of that line are the eligible receivers. So 2nd and 13 now for Jim McElwain's bunch.
Yeah, you can see 25 just.
It's Gilmore in motion as they run it with Woke. And Woke is taken down by C.J. Mosley, the consensus All-America, who may be in line to do it back-to-back years.
C.J. Mosley, when you first look at him, I wanted him to be a bigger guy. And then when we sat down and had a chance to talk to him yesterday, he says 232. He's about 238, almost 240 pounds. Runs extremely well. A very good blitzer. This is a player who has great instincts. He's one of the best linebackers in college football, and he'll do great playing on Sundays next year.
He's like having part of that defensive coaching staff on the field. 3rd and 12. Pressure on Grayson. And he just launches this into the bench as Vinny Sinceri was chasing down Garrett Grayson.
Then he's going to come from the top side. You're going to see him. He's a safety, and they're going to bring the whole thing, which means they're going man-to-man on the outside. So you got to have, you're going to see him. He's sitting right up here. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, I guess it is. He's going to come. That's a long ways to go. And he forced that thing with good coverage down the field. 3-man route, they had it covered.
They came after it and blocked it. Alabama with a special teams touchdown. How about that? That was Dylan Lee who scooped and scored. And you know who it was coming in for the block on special teams?
Who that?
Kenyon Drake.
17.
A running back who scored earlier. Watch him come in and play special teams.
Nobody touched him. They screwed it up on the right side with their count. Kenyon Drake just got right through free. Lee takes it in for the score, but Drake is the guy who makes the play.
And Foster adds the extra point. Another non-offensive touchdown for Bama. 5th time they've done that here in 2013. Dylan Lee cashes in. Not quite a crimson sky, maybe a little salmon in there, but whatever it is, it works for a beautiful evening here in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama just had their 5th non-offensive touchdown scored of the year.
I want you to watch the center. So he's got to get Fowler 45. And then the up back, he's supposed to get Drake. Well, what happens, he ends up taking Fowler. The tackle goes out to get 26 and 17. Drake, he comes clean. Nobody touches him.
Now, what's astounding there is, our special teams guru, Mike Black, here in the booth, he clocked that as a 1.84 get off of that punt. 1 second, 0.84. 2-0 and under is outstanding. So even with the good get off, they got the block kick. Here's Kaufman on the return. And he's taken down just beyond the 16. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Wendy?
Tess, thank you. And we check in on the only game today featuring 2 ranked teams. Arizona State on the road at Stanford. Here's Kevin Hogan to Devin Kujus down about the 8-yard line, but it'll be Tyler Gaffney who punches it in to put the Cardinal on the board. The score now 13-0 Stanford over Arizona State. Tess?
I don't know if people talk about Kevin Hogan enough in terms of what he's brought to Stanford, and think about halfway through last season and continuing on this year.
National
title contender there with that quarterback now.
I think he's a good player.
First down for Grayson and the Rams, who was pressured, but he's able to connect to Higgins. Higgins breaks one tackle, and then he's forced out by Mosley.
Higgins got a little speed. They need to take advantage of that. There's two ways you can use your speed. You can run straight down the field like in a go route, or you can run across the formation and run away from your coverage diagonally. And so that time they run a drag back underneath and use his speed underneath.
Here's Woke on 2nd and 3. And he was able to turn that corner that time. As that'll be a first down for Colorado State. Last couple games he's been productive. Had 133 last week. He had 97 the week before that.
Bibbs is the kid, I think, who has some real running skills that they need to take advantage of. Woke's a bigger man now.
They put him in the slot as they go empty here on first down. Try to set up the inside screen that time, but Hansley couldn't hold on to it. That is not a live ball, obviously. That's an incomplete pass.
That's the second time Hansley has dropped the ball. You can't do that. That's completely on him. The ball's there, has an opportunity to make that catch, and he just either took his eyes off it or whatever. You can't do that.
It's a guy that was limited in practice this week, dealing with injuries, missed the last couple of games. Probably could have used the reps. Opened up well against Colorado in the season opener with 7 catches, but tough spot to come back here against Alabama with limited reps in practice. 2nd and 10 now. Inside pressure, they pick it up and quickly able to get it out to their tight end, and Cartwright trying to fight his way for a little more as he's able to get to the 33-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Tess, I want to show you something, and this is what makes Alabama. You take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. And so Nick Saban is really big on detail. He's talking to Cyrus Jones, and he's making a point. Look, the ball wasn't even his way. But if you don't take care of the small details on every play, that's what gets you beat. And that's why Alabama is the kind of defense they are, because Saban stays on top of all that.
3rd and 4. Grayson running for it, and he dives ahead to move the chains. Of course, Cyrus Jones, the defensive back who we showed there, he's getting extended playing time tonight because Deion Blue injured his toe against Texas A&M, left the game. He's wearing a walking boot a little later, and he is not dressed tonight. So we've seen Cyrus Jones and Bradley Silva, Geno Smith's been in there, Eddie Jackson, a lot of defensive backs in the game tonight for Colorado State. You know, Nick Saban coaches the defensive backs.
He loves big corners.
That's an area of concern for the Tide this year. Do they have that one single guy? This is Alexander out of the backfield, and he is brought down that time by Dixon.
That was a great example right there of a lack of pass rush out of that Alabama front. They don't have that guy. They don't have the guy who can just come up and just blow up the field. And so as long as they come straight down the middle, they're very blockable. They have a young guy, Tim Williams, number 56. He's not quite sure. They're not quite sure how he's going to react playing and play out yet. But they're going to need to get him on the field.
He's just a true freshman. They lost Dalvin Tomlinson for the year with a knee injury. They were very high on what he could do at defensive end. So a little thin on the defensive line is the Tide. Here's an inside screen this time for Kaufman, and he had nowhere to go with big Adrian Hubbard locking in. 6'6" outside linebacker Adrian Hubbard, a loss of 2.
Does a nice job of recognizing it, takes a step, and then right back out. One of the things with these screens is you have to get help inside out. Hubbard shows up in a big way. That's a mauling.
Well, he is such a rangy athlete. Sometimes a little inconsistent. He's got that basketball player pass rushing body and tremendous athlete. 3rd down and 5 here. Grayson standing tall in the pocket, but well overthrown as Clinton Dix hauled it in about 5 yards out of bounds. It was Xavier Dixon who was putting a little pressure on Garrett Grayson.
Yeah, they brought 5. They brought 3 to that side. You're going to see it coming off the top. Here they come. Now that pressure in his face, that is what made that ball take off high. See, Grayson doesn't set his feet. He knows he's going to get hit. You still have to set and make that throw. He had a chance. He had a receiver wide open, but
this is off the side of the foot of Hayden Hunt, but he's probably still having nightmares about the last time he was out there and they blocked it in 1.84 seconds. So 1 blocked and 1 shanked off to the side for Hunt. A.J. McCarron and a tight offense when we come back. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Maria Taylor with you here in Tuscaloosa. Tied up 14-0 halfway through the 2nd quarter. Hayden Hunt, punter for Colorado State. Last couple punts blocked, and then a 13-yarder. This was the 13-yarder as he puts that nose down. A lot of guys do that to try to get the back rotation, but when you're punting from all the way back near the 35-yard line, you want to launch that thing, not try to worry about the back rotation.
Well, he's going to do it the way he does it, and that's what McElwain's talking to him right there. As a coach, you can do one of 2 things. You can get on him, or you can give him a little love. McElwain gave him a little love because he knows he needs it.
T.J. Yeldon is in the game now. 8:19 to go before the half, and Yeldon makes his appearance after the discipline efforts from Saban as he's able to get it complete to DeAndrew White. A flag is down. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Thank you very much. We got a tale of 2 Tigers on ESPN. It's LSU and Auburn. The LSU Tigers playing host, and so far not hospitable. Jeremy Hill on the carry, 49 yards into the end zone, and LSU leads Auburn 7-0 on ESPN.
Wendy, it was a holding call here against the Tide. They were able to get Cyrus Kwanjo flagged, and that brings it back to the 32-yard line.
Kwanjo, to me, is one of the best tackles in all of college football. Very athletic, can get himself out of trouble when he has to. Great hips and feet.
Top NFL prospect is Cyrus. 6'6", just a chicken nugget over 301 pounds.
What a great kid we had.
Oh, sure is. High IQ guy. T.J. Yeldon now. Make you miss and then turn it on. Here goes Yeldon down to the 30-yard line. Nick Saban sat him to start the game because of the unsportsmanlike last week. How about 38 yards here on this carry?
They do a really nice job of securing the edge, and then he makes one guy miss. A bunch of yards later, he got a first down from the 30.
First carry of the night. 38-yard gain. Alabama's longest rush of the year. Play action now. McCarron with time. Seam to the tight end, and that is incomplete as he was trying to find the freshman tight end, O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard was wide open, and that's one that A.J. McCarron is going to want to have back. He let that one take off on him a little bit. He brings that thing down, and Howard has a big play. He's going to find the seam. A little too high.
He brings a totally different dimension at tight end than what Alabama has had. He's more of that power forward basketball type leaping fluid tight end. You see him emerging here this year. 2nd and 10. Yeldon now. The middle was clogged up that time. Yeldon just gets a yard. Calvin Tonga, nose tackle for Coach McElwain's defense.
He's a tough guy on the inside. You need a guy who always sets your point defensively, and Tonga's the guy who can do that. When I say set your point, you have to defend your ground. You can't move, and then everybody can work off of you. Tonga does a nice job of that.
Alabama looking for their first 3rd down conversion tonight. 6.5 minutes before the half. 3rd and 9. McCarron is going to check down this time to Jones, and he is taken down for a loss by Aaron Davis. So how about this Colorado State defense on 3rd downs?
And how about Aaron Davis rather. Aaron Davis has been playing a heck of a first half here. Every time they've tried him and called his number, he has responded.
That'll bring Cade Foster back out there. I had a chance to visit with Cade before the game. Said he worked with Morton Anderson this summer a bit. He missed from 46 to start the night. And this is also from 46. And that just snuck through the right corner, bottom right corner. It gets through. You know, they're probably going to need Cade Foster come a little later in the season. Remember a few years ago against LSU? He could use a little confidence boost. 17-zip Saban's bunch.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
Now, why would we be showing you black and white photos of the Minnesota Golden Gophers from the 1930s in an Alabama game? Folks, that's the last team to win 3 straight national championships, 34-36. Of course, in the modern poll era, it's never happened. Only one of those titles for Minnesota has happened in that era. Nick Saban already got a statue here in Tuscaloosa, and he has a chance for history. Will it be 3 in a row? Can they stay the course? Number 1 here at home tonight, up 17-0 on Colorado State. Here's Kaufman from the 1. And he rolls his way out past the 24-yard line. Well, we invite you to get your NFL Sunday started the right way on ESPN. 10 a.m. on ESPN. It is Sunday NFL Countdown. Chris Berman and the gang have all the latest news and updates. Then if you're going to set your fantasy football lineup, ESPN2 at 11 a.m. is the place for the news, the injuries, and the predictions for the top fantasy performers. And you watch enough NFL games tomorrow, you'll see plenty of Tide players sprinkled throughout the league. Here is Alexander. Nowhere to go there. First guy to get to him was Adrian Hubbard.
Hubbard did a nice job again of just setting the edge. There's nowhere to go on that outside. He's owning that left side.
Well, speaking of the NFL, there's one of the all-time legends way back there among the suits. You'll see Joe Willie Namath, Alabama great. You had a chance to spend a lot of time with him pregame.
Yeah, it was good to see old Joe Willie White Shoes. Old Beaver Falls, PA guy. I've had a lot of good times with him.
That's how he spends most of his time down here in Alabama, shaking hands, kissing babies, and taking photos. Here's 2nd and 14. And they get it to Alexander out of the backfield. One cut against the grain that time to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and long, as it was Stinson and Mosley collectively on the tackle of Alexander.
Tess, they just can't get Alexander in any kind of space. They're trying to, with a little underneath stuff. That time he faked out C.J. Mosley, but this Tide defense does such a great job of getting to the ball. There's not much room to be able to work it.
3rd and 9. They've converted 2 of 6. They only bring 4 this time, and he goes over the middle, well short of the sticks.
Yeah, he's
so
playing
it'll be another 4th down.
Yeah, he's playing in a box right now. They tried to push the ball down the field. That did not work. And then they're playing a zone and keeping everything underneath. And so consequently, look at you can see, let the receivers be underneath. Collins does a nice job of getting depth and then just coming up and making the tackle, but they're playing in about an 8-yard box is Colorado State, and that's exactly what Alabama wants them to do.
Rugby-style kick that time. Collins came in, finished that thing off against Willie Adufia. The flag is down. As Christian Jones quickly took it out of bounds.
I'm not a big fan of that run left, kick right stuff. Get kicks like that.
Well, the punt game the last few times out for McElwain's team has been an adventure.
He gave him a little love last time. Next time he's going to have to give him a little boot in the rear end.
Illegal formation. Offense. Not enough linemen on the line of scrimmage. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Got to have a minimum of 7 up there at the line of scrimmage. They felt otherwise, did the SEC officials. 17-zip. Alabama shutting down the Rams here in Tuscaloosa. You're watching the SEC on ESPN, and we're glad you're doing so with Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Maria Taylor here in Tuscaloosa. #1 Alabama, 17-0 lead on Colorado State. As Nick Saban said, we've got to focus on continuing to improve. He said, I've seen a good game on offense, a good game with our defense. Tonight a little bit of everything. Offense has scored, special teams scored, defense is pitching a shutout. There's McCarron. McCarron's going to tuck it, run, picked up a block from O.J. Howard, and keeping McCarron nice and safe. And, you know, we've talked about some of the stars that aren't in action tonight. Amari Cooper without his helmet there, Matt, as he's been nursing a toe injury.
Yeah, and that's one of the guys that does have the big play capabilities that is proven for this Alabama team. And they needed him to be more consistent as it comes, and we're looking forward to that tonight. He can play. He's capable of playing, but they're just holding him out because he's nursing a toe, I believe.
Remember how dynamic he was last year, those 2 touchdowns against Notre Dame in the BCS championship. Play action on 2nd and 3, easily complete to Howard as he continues to emerge as a weapon. You know, it was middle of last year that Cooper really came about. And you compare freshman seasons to a guy who's cashing a paycheck right now in Julio Jones and what Cooper was able to do a year ago.
Yeah, Tess, you and I had a chance to sit and watch practice tape of him. He hadn't really been playing yet.
The week of the Ole Miss game.
Exactly, and I remember we came down, we're like, who the heck is number 9? That kid can really play. And of course that night the guy in front of him got hurt and he put on a show.
And you know who his high school quarterback was? Teddy Bridgewater down there at Northwestern High in Miami. Can you imagine playing high school ball against those two? Here's a first downs pass to Christian Jones, and Jones utilizing the blockers in front. Gain of about 8.5 yards, taken down by Kevin Pierre-Louis.
Alabama has enough skilled people to be able to do whatever they want. This Howard kid, Christian Jones, you got Yeldon, you got Drake. I mean, there are people there who can. White does a nice job.
Second and 1 with Yeldon as the lone back here. Play action, pressure off the edge, and McCarron never had a chance. They didn't pick it up that time as Shaq Bell and Shaquille Barrett came charging in on A.J. McCarron.
Bell came off the edge out of the secondary. Barrett came from the inside. You're going to watch him up top. He's coming off the corner. He just takes a hard inside move and beats a tight end. That's Green, 89, who's a former tackle. They moved to tight end. Big man. You got to be better than that.
3rd down and 9. Remember, Bama yet to convert a 3rd down. 0 for 4 on the night. McCarron this time plenty of time to choose his options. And then finally just gets rid of it as Vogler was the closest target. And once again, Colorado State on 3rd down.
Good coverage. Yeah, the good coverage down the field. He wanted DeAndre White to come back to the ball in that thing, but it didn't happen. So, you know, Tess, you watch his team, you can see they have all the tools, and you also understand why Nick Saban says we're inconsistent. They just aren't. They aren't at that polished state. they do need some work.
Cody Mandel on to punt. Set the school record for yards per punt last year. Here he will try to just position things. Simmons is back. Takes a bounce and goes into the end zone for a touchback. Under a minute here in the first half from Tuscaloosa. 17-0. Tide rolling.
I'm Wendy Nix, and coming up on the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, we'll update the battle in Baton Rouge. The Gators moved Jess Driscoll for the season. We'll talk about what that means, and we'll have highlights from the top 25 teams in action in our own version of the No Huddle. I'm joined by Todd McShay and Robert Smith at the half. Tess?
17-0 Alabama on top here at home. The latest home opener they've had here in 25 years. Their first home game of the season this deep into the season. That was Woke. They've been limited between the tackles against this Alabama front all night long.
Well, physically, I think Coach McElwain knew they were going to struggle in that department. They're not as physical as that Alabama up front group. You guys got guys like Hubbard on the outside and Pagans on the inside. There's some big, powerful guys in there.
Colorado State just watching the clock tick down here in the first half. Colorado State went through that half of football, Matt, not crossing midfield.
End of the second quarter.
Played some good defense, especially on third downs against the Tide. Special teams was a disaster with the punt block scooped and scored. And the offense couldn't get past midfield. Defense was a little fiery for Coach McElwain. Let's go down to the field to Maria.
Coach, one touchdown from your offense in the first half. What's your assessment of their execution?
Well, you know, we're doing a good job of executing. We're not finishing drives. I mean, we moved the ball down the field, missed a field goal. Didn't finish drives, had a chance to score at the end of the half there. So, and we're making mental errors and not executing the way we need to. We just got to clean it up.
Well, we haven't seen Amari Cooper in the game yet. What's the reason for him not playing?
Well, you know, he sprained his toe this week in practice. It was bothering him a little bit in pregame. We thought he'd be able to play, but, you know, he wasn't 100%, so we just decided to hold him.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
To Coach's point about not finishing 7.5 yards per play, but 0 for 5 on third downs for Alabama. But number one, comfortable out in front, 17-0. Let's join Wendy Nix, Todd McShay, and Robert Smith back in studio for the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. Wendy. ESPN College Football Primetime, where you're watching the SEC on ESPN at the place I like to call the Grand Cathedral of Deep South College Football, Bryant-Denny Stadium. First half numbers, listen, 17-zip, Mellon's the score. Got a special teams block, punt, scoop, and score in there. So the Colorado State defense has played fairly well.
Yeah, they have.
Alabama defense has been exceptional, only giving up 102 total yards. Colorado State didn't cross midfield. They are cranked up, and this Colorado State offense is struggling.
Yeah, and when they had opportunities to make play, you had drop balls, you had missed opportunities down the field. In a game like this, Colorado State's going to have to capitalize on every little thing that they get. And so far, they've not been able to because this Alabama defense has been superb. Vinny Sinceri comes off the edge and knocks the ball down. And then anytime they've tried to run, the edge has always been maintained. Sinceri again forcing another throw down the field. But it's been really this whole defense. It hasn't been just one guy. They've had pressure from a bunch of different people. They've had people making tackles. It's just been a dominant group effort in this first half.
And of course, they had the blocked punt that Dylan Lee returned for the touchdown. So that's 5 non-offensive touchdowns now for number one Alabama. Of course, Sinceri with a couple of pick sixes this year. What he did last week against A&M. Christian Jones had that great week 1 opener against Virginia Tech with the kickoff return and the punt return for a touchdown. And tonight, Dylan Lee scooping up the block punt that Kenyon Drake, the running back who had scored a touchdown earlier, came in and was able to reject. So Thomas Kaufman back deep to return Cade Foster's second half kickoff. And Kaufman unable to get back to the 25. Check in with Maria Taylor.
Well, according to Jim McElwain, the all playing the #1 team in the nation should officially be over. Now, he is very proud of his defense and what they've been able to do on third downs, but he's challenged his offense to find ways to move the ball down the field. He said they're really not taking advantage of those opportunities. Like you said, Matt, they have dropped passes, and that's what he challenged his team in the locker room, was really on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Maria, you're right on the money. And we're seeing the same things. And when the opportunity does arise, you have to be able to capitalize on it, because there have been opportunities to do something.
Grayson on play action, and he's able to get a complete to Higgins. And McElwain, the former offensive coordinator at Alabama, when we talked to him about this stage this week, he said the only reason you should be scared is if you're not sure. There's no reason to not be sure about what you're doing. It comes down to preparation. If you know what you're doing, you know how to practice, you shouldn't be scared, even in as big of a spotlight game as this.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. There's another P in there that I eliminated.
Say that 100 times fast.
Exactly.
Grayson with the effort that time.
Nice catch.
As that was Crockett Gilmore, and he's marked down just shy of that unofficial yellow line.
They're going to have to start using more of Gilmore and Cartwright on the inside, working against these backers on top of him.
Cartwright is a very reliable receiver through the years for them. Number 10 tight end. So 3rd and 1. Play action. Grayson trying to extend the play. C.J. Mosley pressured him, and he had to throw it away. They had Woke in the backfield. Instead, they go play action.
Tess, that ball's got to come out quick. That's on Grayson. As soon as he's in the flat, your head has to turn, and the ball has to be delivered. It would have been a tight throw. The coverage was there, but you've got to be accurate with the ball. You know, watching the flat. The flat shows right now, right there. Hubbard has it, but Grayson can't wait.
And Woke was a step in front of Hubbard.
Yeah, the ball has to come quick.
So here's Hayden Hunt back on to punt. Once again goes rugby style and then kicks with the right foot. And does take a Colorado State bounce where it is fielded by Christian Jones, who was tackled right away at about the 28-yard line. Looked like Schlager coming down on special teams to make that tackle. So Alabama will take over here in the 3rd quarter, going up against their former offensive coordinator from 08 to 2011. Jim McElwain was such a big part of what Nick Saban and the Tide did with all their success. He put a couple of those rings on, was here for the 2009 and 2011 title team as the play caller, had a great relationship, and he's so proud of how A.J. McCarron has developed. He said it means the world to him to be back here, and that A.J. in his eyes is as good a quarterback as there is in college football. And here is his one-time pupil, who finds Jones in stride. Did he put that ball right on the hands of Christian Jones?
That was a great throw.
Sure was. And the respect that guy has for the now senior quarterback for the Tide.
Now watch where this ball is thrown. This is the only place it could have been. Look at the coverage. That's a beautiful throw.
23-yard reception by Christian Jones. Another first down pass, and this time on the slant to Jones for 11 yards and another chain mover.
A.J. Karen and Jones are on the same page right now because there's some darts being thrown on right there. This ball is on that's a dart. Right inside. That's good coverage.
number 2 on Alabama's career passing yard list is A.J. McCarron. He's getting into a rhythm with Christian Jones here. And here it is again. And another first down as McCarron to Jones has been the go-to here to start this second half. We told you what McElwain, Coach Mack, had to say about A.J. McCarron. Here's what A.J. said about Coach Mack. He said, unbelievable coach for me, not as a player, but as a person, too. Just taught me a lot about life, how to act, what to do, what not to do. He means the world to me, and I wish him the best every Saturday, except just once this year. 190 yards now for A.J. McCarron as Christian Jones has 3 receptions for 46 yards on this drive. Play action. Can McCarron look his way again? This time a little bit of pressure. And that ball is intercepted. They're saying incomplete. Bernard Blake made a diving effort at it, but they're saying he could not control it at the end there. That was a great effort that time by Blake.
I don't know if he dropped that one.
I don't know either. I thought he clutched this for sure. Watch if he maintains control of the ball throughout the catch. It is all right for the ball to hit the ground as long as
of incomplete pass on the previous play is under further review.
So they're going to take a look at this. But keep in mind, once he establishes firm control, as long as he maintains that same firm control, it's fine hitting the ground. So you be the judge and ask, was that ball juggled? Did it come loose
it's a catch, Tess,
at any point?
Now, it's tough because now this is probably our most definitive angle right here. I think he has control of that thing all the way through.
So if the ball or even the nose of the ball touches the ground, but the player retains firm control, it doesn't move during the action of the process of the catch. It's a catch, folks, and that's what they have to look for here. But the ruling on the field, keep in mind, is that it was incomplete. So they would need the indisputable video evidence to say that he did have that firm control without the ball moving in the process of the catch.
So he has it up on his shoulder pad. And he holds on to that ball. That looks to me like it's a pick. It stays in that position all the way through.
I agree with you. I think there's no doubt about it that he was able to maintain firm control. And even though obviously he goes to the ground and the ball is underneath him, the ball doesn't move. But they said on the field that it was incomplete.
I don't see any juggling anywhere. He pulls that in tight on his shoulder pad all the way through. That's going to be a tough call.
Rocky Good from the SEC is our replay official. And Mark Curls will be giving the information, the referee down on the field. That was a fabulous effort from Bernard Blake. There is Rocky looking things through.
The Rock. They do a good job.
Rolling on the field incomplete. But at first glance, it looked like Blake had firm control throughout the entire play, that he maintained firm possession of the ball.
After review, the ruling is the player did maintain control of the pass.
Good call.
It is an interception. First down, Colorado State on the 18-yard line.
That's a good job by Rocky Good, Mark Curls, and the SEC crew of reversing that call, and it's an interception for Colorado State and Bernard Blake.
Blake knew it too. As soon as he got up, he went to the official, and then he turned to the sideline and threw and gave the motion like throw a flag to challenge it. A rare interception for A.J. McCarron.
Only the 10th interception he's thrown of his career. And here is Bibbs.
That's the kid I like, Tess. That Bibbs kid, he's got a little game to him. He's got some quick feet. He can accelerate, and he's a bigger kid than I thought. You know, you hear Bibbs, it sounds small, but when you see him, big kid.
Second and 1. Grayson quickly out to the flats to Hansley, and that's a first down as he's wrestled down by John Fulton at about the 40-yard line.
Grayson's seeing coverage pretty well. I mean, he sees, you know, when there's the zones underneath, he's getting rid of the ball. What they haven't done, Tess, is push something down the field. Mostly because I don't believe they have the real speed to be able to do that.
They come back the other way with Hansley, and Hansley takes that inside screen to the 44-yard line from Grayson.
Hansley had a couple drops in the first half, and that's a kid that they thought they needed him to be up and going full bore, and he's coming off of an injury. They thought he had the most sure hands of the group.
Second and 5, designed quarterback run. As Grayson just lowers and rolls to the 47. Third and short from there.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of the things you want to really have him featured.
No, that's really not his game. This is a guy, keep in mind, that suffered a separated shoulder last year and missed the final 7 games of the year and started the first 5 last year. So 3rd and 3 here, as Bibbs will be the back, flanking Grayson in the shotgun.
Just keep in mind they haven't crossed midfield yet.
And this time they do. And it is Crockett Gilmore stiff-arming his way down to the 30-yard line against John Fulton. A 24-yard reception for Gilmore as the Rams, with 9:16 remaining in the third, finally cross midfield.
That Gilmore is a good-looking rascal. He runs well, big body, catches the ball well.
6'6", 255.
Yeah, that's a nice-looking player.
Pistol formation with Roque getting the call that time, and he was ridden down. It was a Sean Robinson making first contact, and then Brandon Ivory cleaning things up.
That last third down was a nice job by that offensive line of giving him Grayson some time to be able to throw. If you can do that, these tight ends, they can work second level. They both run pretty well. They can get on top of these backers.
And they play 2 tights most of the time. They fake the end around, play action. They go downfield, and it is off the hands of Cartwright.
Tess, that is what we're just talking about at halftime. When the opportunity presents itself, you can't miss it.
It was there. There was an opportunity.
There it was. McElwain knows it. That is potential for a big play. Dix was right there. Dix is right here. So it wouldn't probably have been a touchdown, but that's a first down inside the 10-yard line. You can't blow that.
So it leaves them with a 3rd down and 8. Brian Denny getting loud here. Haven't heard much of that tonight. And they run on 3rd and 8. And Roque couldn't go anywhere. So they're going to send the place kick team out there with Jared Roberts, whose only career miss is from 51. He's hit 12 straight. Perfect 5 for 5 from this range. This attempt from 45 yards out. And make it 13 straight field goals now for Jared Roberts. So Colorado State gets on the board, trailing by 2 touchdowns to number 1. Colorado State field goal now has the score at 17-3. And look at those Alabama helmets, and you'll see a helmet sticker this year to honor Mal Moore, the athletic director here at Bama, who passed away this past March. Mal Moore was a big part of the success of Alabama football, really from the late 50s forward. Played for Bear Bryant, coached for the Bear, became the AD in '99. And you know about the 3 football national titles in that span, but also under Moore's guidance, Alabama was able to win national titles in women's gymnastics, golf, softball. He was on the staff or played on 7 title teams at Alabama. Is such a nice gentleman, and he is dearly missed here in Tuscaloosa. From the 10, this is White. And the Andrew White taken down at about the 24. 101,000 plus here on a beautiful night at Bryant-Denny. Short break, and we'll be right back with Bama on offense.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Kingsford Charcoal. Remember, everyone's a fan when you're doing the grilling. Be the highlight of game day when you grill with Kingsford Charcoal.
Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Maria Taylor with you here in Tuscaloosa. Number 1 Alabama, 17-3 lead against Colorado State. You know, the Denver Post columnist quoted the athletic director, Jack Graham, this week. Said of this matchup, he said, light a candle for us. A few may have been sparking. Playing a 14-point game here in the 3rd quarter. A few candles.
This defense has played tough. That guy right there, we talked about him right at the start. Shaquille Barrett has played himself a good game, as has Davis, number 37. Tonga in the middle.
McCarron was picked off earlier in this 3rd quarter. A sensational effort by Bernard Blake. See how he responds here. As Yeldon splits to the near side. They come back with the screen pass to Christian Jones. What a difference a week makes. That high energy last week against Texas A&M. Of course, Amari Cooper was playing in that game, and it was just played at a frenzied pace where it was back and forth between McCarron and Manziel. And you see the numbers tonight. Total yards for Alabama, 245. And keep in mind, they have a block, punt, scoop, and score, so the offense has scored 10 points of these 17. 3rd down conversions, yet to have one. 3rd down and 5 now for the Tide. And Jones looks like he's going to be short there, as it was Bernard Blake who had the interception before, staying sound defensively and corralling him.
Tess, I got to tell you, this Colorado State defense has played really well.
They really
Their
have.
secondary, they've taken chances. They've gotten some kind of pressure. Look at the good coverage. Nice tackling. This secondary has really tackled pretty well tonight.
Co-coordinators Al Simmons, Marty English, holding the Tide to 10 offensive points as Cody Mandel on to punt away to Tyree Simmons. And Simmons with the fair catch out at the 23-yard line. Well, don't roll them to sleep. Just a 14-point game here in T-Town. That ain't Big Al. Millen, I've already got the DVR set. It is the Book of Manning, Tuesday night at 8 on ESPN. SEC story, the Book of Manning, football's first family, the upbringing of the Manning brothers, of course, the role Dad Archie played there. Of course, Archie, the Mannings all have great long history with Alabama. You go back to 1969, that record performance Archie had, 540 total yards against the Tide in a 1-point loss One of the first primetime games televised in college football history. And this is complete on a crossing route to Higgins for a first down. Let's check in with Wendy next. Wendy?
Tess, thank you. A look at what's going on ABC stations around the country. Michigan over Connecticut. Some of you are seeing that game 7-0. And Kansas State trailing Texas 10-0. Mac Brown, of course, spent the week on the hot seat, Tess. A lot of talk about his future at Texas.
Oh, indeed, Wendy. We broadcast the last 2 Texas games, know all about it all too well. One of the big storylines that will continue this season here. First down run by Capri Biggs, and Bibbs is rolled out by Adrian Hubbard.
They have not been able to get the edge at all tonight. Between Hubbard and Stinson, they've just haven't been able to let him get outside at all. Hubbard's really played a good game.
Boy, when he's on, he can be such a factor. And there's Big Ed Stinson, defensive end, kind of a tweener end tackle kind of guy. They're not as deep on the defensive line.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of tweeners up front. They really don't have that great pass rusher. These are solid guys, but they're not the guy.
Here's Grayson on 2nd and 8. And this is Bibbs out of the backfield with a block in front and a first down. That was Ty Sambrailo getting out in front and paving the way for Bibbs.
We've talked about Bibbs a few times here tonight. He's one of those, you got to get the ball in his hands. That's a nice block there on the outside. Really well done by the guard there. Oh, Sambrailo, I'm sorry, the tackle, left tackle.
Former freestyle skier, now he's 310 pounds, 6'5". Was a real good skier as a teenager. There's Woke. Oh, what do you think? 6'5", 310 freestyle skier?
I mean, that's what I think.
The skis hold up.
You see 6'5", 310, I think, skier.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Out there in Fort Collins, a lot of outdoorsmen, great winter sports. 2nd and 7 now. Grayson has time. Tried to fit it into that window, and Gilmore could not hold on to it.
That was a small window, and he waited just, you know, I'll tell you, this Grayson, if he doesn't quite trust it. He's not pulling the trigger fast enough. He sometimes just waits a little too long. Like that ball needed to be out when he made the break. That could have been a great catch. The Trey DePriest did a nice job of defending inside out. It was there. That sets up this 3rd down. Let's see if he gets rid of it a little quicker this time.
3rd and 7. They go with the screen again. Higgins is fast when he gets open space in front of him, and it's a first down for Colorado State.
Yeah, they weren't quite ready there, Tess. Look at C.J. Mosley. He's trying to get everybody on the same page. The ball's already snapped, and it's too late. And by that time, they're already out, off to the races.
How's the freshman, Maurice Smith, playing cornerback? Remember, some younger, inexperienced cornerbacks getting playing time tonight for Alabama. Woke now running hard. And Woke just short of the 30-yard line.
Can you feel it there, Tess? You feel it? You see it right now? It's a little bit of confidence that this Colorado State team's getting.
Listen, Matt, we're under 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. And we know about the personnel and the physical mismatches that exist here with some of these matchups. But bottom line is Colorado State is driving here. Now a 2nd and 6 with a chance to pull within 7. Trying to make this a one-possession game of the most dominant team and program in college football.
Going to call a timeout here.
It's a Colorado State team.
First charge timeout, Colorado State.
Whose only win is against Cal Poly last week. They lost to Colorado in Tulsa. You know, we heard what Jim McElwain had to say. Said the only reason you should be scared is if you're not sure. And the only reason you're not sure is if you're not prepared.
Right.
They came in prepared for this task to take on #1 Alabama.
And then like any other thing, you know, it's like a new player. The first time they start, they're not quite sure just how good they are or how good you are as a player, and then pretty soon you start to figure it out. And then once it starts to click, you're like, you know what, this guy's not as bad as I thought he was. In fact, here, take this, doink.
And then
that's what happens.
The game just lingers along.
Oh,
and all of a sudden you
stuff.
wake up and you look at the scoreboard and you say, who knows? Let's try to close this gap. But this Colorado State defense has been pursuing the ball. They've been coming down the line. And Cade Foster had his struggles early with the opportunity for points. And then A.J. McCarron out with what was a good-looking drive earlier here in the second half. It was Bernard Blake making a sensational interception. So let's see now if Joey Porter's troops can rally here. The former NFL star and CSU alum. Play action. Here they go downfield, and it's complete for a first down as he's able to find Joe Hansley.
That was a nice, well-designed play. McElwain, that one he pulled out of the old, hey, this gave our defense trouble 5 or 6 years ago. Watch it, see, he pumps it, and then the ball comes, and Hansley's able to get between the corner who pulled up and the safety who's sitting over high.
They have as many first downs as Alabama now. And keep in mind, their defense has had Alabama to 10 points. Alabama scored on special teams. First down. Here's Woke. And a gain of just 1.5 yards that time.
One thing about Dave Baldwin, the offensive coordinator for Colorado State, is he's patient. He's been very patient with that run game. He hasn't tried to open it up. He's stayed in exactly what he thinks his group can do. And then he's been trying to take a little bit of play action off that stuff. You can
Total
see
yards in the third quarter. They are finding some momentum here. Second and 8. Here's Bibbs. And that was John Fulton coming up.
And the one thing we've talked about they haven't been able to do is get to the edge. They have been holding the point the whole time.
I mean, they don't have the speed on the edge against Alabama's pursuit here, but they have tight ends that can run some seams, and
that's what they
have height that they can accomplish things against the middle of this defense with. The guy to watch is number 10, Gilmore. 3rd and 13. Garrett Grayson and the Rams need to come up with something here.
Or Cartwright, 86. Those are the guys.
Steps up in the pocket. Stiff arms, and then is taken down near the 15-yard line by Landon Collins.
Collins played that absolutely beautifully. They went man-to-man everywhere, and they brought Collins down inside, and his sole job was to see if anybody's going to take off and run. Watch the coverage. See everybody's locked up outside, locked up, locked up. 2 safeties over the top. That means you have one guy down inside, which is Collins. He's supposed to handle anything that takes off and moves inside, and he does it very well.
So Jared Roberts comes back out. He's made 13 straight field goals. And now the streak is at 14. And Colorado State coach Jim McElwain, 39.5-point underdogs. And they trail Alabama by only 11 with 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Of course, we switch gears tomorrow to NFL coverage after a full day of the college action. Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. will get you started on ESPN. And then for you fantasy football folks out there, Fantasy Football Now to get your lineup set with all the latest news and injury updates at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. See Coach Mack, Jim McElwain, he's having a word or two with the officiating crew, SEC crew, both downstairs and upstairs for this game here. 2-game series for Colorado State, coming here to Tuscaloosa twice, cashing a $1.5 million check tonight to do so against Nick Saban's gang. $17 points out of Alabama through 3 quarters of play and only 10 by their offense. Here's Jones from the 4. And he's wrapped up. Good special teams coverage again from Colorado State. 1 quarter to play, and number 1 only has an 11-point lead.
Yeah, that's my kind of night. Yeah, that's my kind of night. Yeah, that's my kind of night. That's my kind of night. Yeah, that's my kind of night. Come on.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Maria Taylor with you here to start the 4th quarter in Tuscaloosa with number 1 Alabama up 17-6 against Colorado State. Here's TJ Yeldon. And Yeldon spins ahead for a gain of 8. Maria.
Well, the most excited and animated I've seen Jim McElwain was after that field goal. He jogs over to his offense and says, see, guys, it's just football. Talking to the running back, says, if you got an opportunity, you got to hit it. He was pounding his fist, really trying to keep the confidence and energy alive on his sideline, guys.
Boy, they had energy in that 3rd quarter. They outscored him 6-zip. 2 long drives, but they only got 3s. They ran 22 plays to Bama's 7. Colorado State offensively outplaying Alabama in that 3rd quarter. 127 yards to 54. Yeldon tripped up in the backfield for a loss of 4.
That was Tonga. That's right in the middle of that thing.
FaceTime Profile brought to you by Edward Jones, Jim McElwain, head coach at Colorado State, but of course the 2 championship rings as the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He's going to get things straightened out at CSU. He really believes that this is a program. Of course, you remember how good they were under Sonny Lubick back in the 90s and early 2000s. They had 9 bowl appearances. They had 6 conference titles, and he thinks that the Rams can once again be a top 25 team and contending for conference crowns.
So do a lot towards that thing right now if this defense holds them on 3rd.
Remember, Alabama 0 for 6 on 3rd downs. McCarron, he goes underneath, and Alabama still doesn't have a 3rd down conversion. Aaron Davis came up big.
Aaron Davis has been playing his rear end off. He's been playing great all night long. Aggressive, patient, doing a nice job of letting things happen in front of him and then attacking it. See him up top on the 35-yard line right here. And watch him. He's just going to be patient. Let things develop in front of you. Now go up and make the sure tackle. He's done this all night long.
So Alabama to punt away again. Cody Mandel with Simmons back to return at the 25. And it bounces just about at the 27. As Davis has had a strong night. And a bit of frustration for A.J. McCarron. Last 2 Bama drives were 3 and out, and it's 17-6. Celebrating its 9th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. And to date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship monies. Well, who would have thought, sitting here in the 4th quarter, and Colorado State with the ball, and a chance to cut into this and make it a 1-possession game.
See what's happening right there. Number 2 ran on the field. Then the umpire come over the ball to allow Alabama to be able to make any kind of personnel changes that they want to make.
Eric Grayson, can he orchestrate something here in the 4th? Gets to the edge of that rush and then gets out to the 30-yard line. Did the ball come loose at the end there? Alabama is claiming it did.
No, official has he's marking it.
He's marking it there, and everybody on the Alabama sideline is saying otherwise. As Kirby Smart and that defensive staff was quick to signal for the turnover. Watch the end of this play. It was a 4-yard run by Grayson.
Yeah,
See the ball underneath Dixon at the end there. Colorado State heading up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 6. They go empty. And now the whistles come in.
On the previous play, the ruling of the runner down is under further review.
So Mark Curls, our SEC referee, will take the time to talk things over with Rocky Good, the replay official, who I thought made an outstanding reverse of a call earlier tonight to give an interception to Colorado State. We'll see if he has the video evidence enough to show whether this ball came out or not.
Knee is down.
Well, that's tough to tell also where the ball is at that point. Remember, ruling on the field is that the runner was down. You see it starting to get loose there. You see the separation of the forearm and the elbow.
That's a fumble.
That is a great shot for the guys down there on the near sideline.
That's a fumble. Now his knee is not down, and that ball comes out right there.
Trey DePriest knocked it loose. You see Trey DePriest coming in with his right hand.
Yeah, see right there, the knee's not down and the ball is out. That, my friends, is a fumble.
And it was DePriest who also jumped on the ball. Well, good job by the guys to give them the very best possible look at that. We'll see if they feel that that is indisputable video evidence. One thing for us to say it up here, taking a peek at it. Another thing for Rocky Good, the SEC replay official, to term that indisputable video evidence.
Well, the Rock's looking at the same thing we're looking at, since our truck is feeding them.
And Garrett Grayson.
After further review, the ruling is the runner lost control of the ball before his knee was on the ground. It was an immediate recovery by the defense. It's Alabama's ball, 1st and 10 on the 30-yard line.
Also stressing that immediate recovery is the second half to that equation. So it is Alabama football at the 30. And there was Colorado State with an opportunity, trailing by 11, 4th quarter, looking to put a drive together. And instead they turn it over at their own 30-yard line. So A.J. McCarron and T.J. Yeldon back to business here in the offensive backfield. Play action for McCarron. Going to take a shot to the end zone. Oh, that was too easy. DeAndrew White. What could have been for Rams fans instead is the 2nd touchdown of the season for the junior receiver. A 30-yard touchdown strike. McCarron off the play action to DeAndrew White. They got the fumble recovery off the replay overturn, and they didn't waste any time. 24-6 tie.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Right Guard. Don't let unfresh pits ruin your game. Next time, use Right Guard Extreme Fresh. Right Guard for the win.
Come to Tuscaloosa, you got to stop by and see Paul William Bryant's museum. The Bear opened back in 1988. Anywhere you walk in T-Town, you're going to find a few houndstooth hats.
Tess, let me tell you something. Those houndstooth hats aren't going to help anybody. In particular, right there is Trent Matthews. That's the safety. Now, he He bites right here, right inside on Christian Jones. And what that does is that opens the middle of the field wide up. Looks like they were in quarters. And what they really did there is attack the rule. And White was able to get on top of it because of the protection. McCarron was perfect.
Margin to 18 now for Alabama as Kaufman takes it out of the end zone. And Kaufman finds a nice stride as a flag is down, and Kaufman got to the 32-yard line. Vinny Sinceri who forced him out there.
During the return, holding number 22, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So Colorado State had the fumble and now the holding, which will back them up just when things appeared like they had a bit of momentum. 2 long drives. But this was the moment earlier with Garrett Grayson, as he wasn't even ready for the snap. He was pointing over and then decided to run, and then at the end of this play, initially he was ruled down, but then they went to replay, overturned that fumble. Quick strike touchdown, Alabama, and that was thrown to the outside. Gives us a chance to check in with Wendy Nix. Wendy, what do you got?
Tess, we got to check on UConn and Michigan. This game on ABC. Let's not forget, this is a Michigan team that struggled last week against Akron. Chandler Whitmer to Spencer Parker right here. That would tie it up for the Huskies. And then to Lyle McCombs. Connecticut takes the lead 14-7 over Michigan at the half on ABC.
We got a stunner working there in East Hartford.
The fighting Paul Pasqualoni.
Second and 10. Grayson. Ball was deflected almost off a lineman there and then went into the backfield. So it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Rams.
Tess, Grayson right now, he was doing pretty solid right up until that fumble. Right now, this is a big play for him.
Third and 10. They go with the screen, and Higgins tried to cut back to the inside, only got to the 19-yard line as John Fulton made the tackle on Rashard Higgins, true freshman receiver for Colorado State. He's got 7 catches for 71 yards on the night.
Now they're going to punt it away, and this is where Alabama buries him. Alabama just got a little bit of life on that last touchdown pass. They needed to sustain something there. They weren't able to do anything. And now at the 10-minute mark, when they hand the ball back to Bama, it will not shock me if Bama just puts the nail in the coffin.
Let's see if they get that running game going. As Hayden Hunt punts away. And Christian Jones caught that on the run. And Jones out towards midfield. .35 to go. 18-point lead as they enjoy the evening down at Rounders on University here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You're watching the SEC on ESPN here at Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. And we invite you to watch Sunday Night Baseball. Cards and the Brewers, Sunday at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Cardinals try to keep pace in that race for the NL Central. A little more to cheer about after the fumble recovery and the touchdown pass from McCarron to DeAndrew White. And now let's see if the offense can do their job and get to the ground game a bit here in the 4th quarter. Here's McCarron now. And McCarron kept his balance and then launches it downfield. Just overthrows Kenny Bell.
Ellie Edwards had a chance at having a sack and missed him. And then Bell just overthrew it. Bell got behind the defender Edwards had his chance right there and missed.
That was a good job by McCarron to keep his feet underneath him and his control of his upper body there, and then launch that ball.
Alabama has not run the ball very well at all tonight against this Colorado State defense.
Only 55 rushing yards. And that's a tackle for loss. That was Calvin Tonga, as there looked to be a little miscommunication with the timing between Yeldon and McCarron on that handoff.
As we talked about Tonga earlier, this kid has played a heck of a game. There have been times when there's been no place to run inside. And that's because Tonga has taken Ryan Kelly, the center, and just pushed him in the backfield. He has been
30 pounds.
Yeah, he has been a force here tonight. 52 yards.
15 rushing attempts. Now, would you ever think that Alabama is a 39.5-point favorite in a game that they've controlled throughout, although they've kind of lingered a bit. At times the game feels like it's been stuck in molasses, but still 15 rushing plays, 0 for 7 on third downs, still without a third down conversion. Here's 3rd and 13, and Yeldon's going to come up short. 0 for 8 on third downs tonight for the Tide. Aaron Davis and Jason Odden coming up with the tackle.
Every time we say third down, we say Aaron Davis.
Yes, we do. He's been outstanding.
He has had a great game here tonight.
He's got a pretty good mentor in Joey Porter, the former NFL star, who's come back to be a student assistant coach and get his degree at Colorado State.
Well, he has his doctorate in hard play.
He sure does. Started for the Rams back in the late 90s. As Mandel punts away. Bounces at the 2 and then goes in. Aaron Davis, number 37, working at weak side for the Rams defense.
As he started early in the game, and he was aggressive and he was physical. And then seemingly every time that this Colorado State defense needed a play, Aaron Davis was the guy to make the play. In the past game, he's been very patient, but he's been a sure tackler the whole time. He's had 10 tackles, 8 solo tonight, and he's been in on a bunch of them that you don't count, but he's always around the football. This kid has played a whale of a game.
10 tackle night for Aaron Davis against the #1 team in the country. Grayson with time goes downfield, and Grayson has it complete to Hansley. 21-yard reception. Joe Hansley.
John Fulton, number 10, the corner. He struggled a little bit. That time he fell down. Grayson was able to throw between he and the safety for a big completion.
Remember, Deion Blue not playing tonight, starting cornerback for Alabama. Come back with the screen. And this time it's Hansley again, but Trey DePriest read that well.
Hansley's played much better here in the second half. Trey DePriest has also. He's been inactive. He's had an active second half. Of course, he caused the fumble earlier that led to the touchdown.
Under 8 minutes to play. Colorado State has had a few moments tonight. A couple long drives in the third quarter, but they could only get field goals. Defense has played well throughout against the Tide. Tide had a block punt, scoop, and score as part of their 24 points. 2nd and 9 here. And Woke is stacked up.
Yeah, you can see
that. Mosley. You know, the play calling on these 2nd and longs have put them in a down and distance compromise situation at times.
Well, and the reason I believe is because Alabama, like on that one, Alabama, they blitzed Mosley. Mosley hit that thing perfectly. And so they're anticipating that they're being a little more conservative, which kind of surprises me here. But they haven't really taken advantage of these tight ends.
Gilmore and Cartwright. And as you saw, Kirby Smart, defensive coordinator for Alabama. Let's see what he sends here against Grayson. Only brings 4. And they go underneath, and that's incomplete. So it'll be 4th down as Landon Collins came in that time. The sophomore safety who was a big recruit a couple of years ago. He's come on well this year. Played a lot of special teams as a freshman on last year's title team.
One thing that you'll notice with Alabama's team in terms of special teams, this is a carryover from Bill Parcells to Bill Belichick and then down to Nick Saban. They play a lot of the starters on special teams.
And look at the success they have.
Exactly.
They had Drake with the block punt. As they go rugby style here. It's a low liner of a punt. It actually hit a Rams player that time. So Jones came up, just simply fielded it. 6.5 minutes to play. #1 Alabama looking to close the door on the Rams. Matt, we always knew that you could circle September 14 and November 9 on the Alabama schedule, but then you watch Ole Miss play ball and you see who's coming up next week. My oh my, is that going to be interesting, the way Ole Miss plays some offense and the young talent they have. Look at Yeldon spinning and driving for 8.
Yes, you take a look at Ole Miss and you take a look at just the receivers, which give this defense of Alabama problems. Dante Moncrief is a big man who can run. Laquan Treadwell, just 18 years old, another big man, and Ingram the tight end. And they have Jamez 85 on the outside.
Yeah, Logan.
Jamez Logan on the outside. They have speed. They have size. They have a quarterback who's capable. That could be a really.
And look at what a physical receiver just did to Alabama last week. Now, I'm not saying they're Mike Evans, but.
Well, they also have Scott in the backfield, and that kid can fly.
Now, this kid can fly, too, and you're going to see him in the coming years. That's Alti Tenpenny, the freshman running back from North Little Rock, Arkansas. Had 6 carries against Virginia Tech. He has made a big impression on the staff. He's tough between the tackles, and he has a really bright future ahead of him. I mean, they're loaded at running back, and then you throw a guy like Tenpenny into the mix. They also have Derrick Henry, who's one of the top recruits in the country last year, a true freshman.
Big man also. Tenpenny wants that ball. The one thing you forget about runners, you always see the kid who has great run skills, but they have to protect. And that's the toughest thing for a young running back. And Nick Saban's not going to let you in there if you don't protect.
No, you don't hit the field unless you got your pass pro down. Kenyon Drake is in as the lone back now. McCarron's looking to pass. He wants one more shot downfield.
Great
defense. Just no, they're going to get the flag that time on Bernard Blake. Remember, he had the interception earlier, but this time the coverage on Kenny Bell, I think they're going to say, was a little too much.
Oh, he's running right with him, Tess.
You know, we're seeing the lead hand. What about the offhand?
Interference, number 23, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Now you know I'm partial to good defense.
I know. He made an outstanding play with the left hand. It's just we were shielded from seeing what was happening with the right hand. Watch the right hand. Yeah, that's where they're going to get him for being around that collar.
Came up high.
But he didn't tug him and he didn't reach on him. It landed there. The right hand ended up being in the wrong place. I don't think it really had an effect on the play.
Personally, that's great defense. That kid's played a good game also tonight. Now you're going to get the flag. That's a heck of a play.
Tenpenny is still in as the running back here. Play action again. And McCarron is sacked by Barrett. Shaquille Barrett.
And who did
he started this? A kid who started his college career at Nebraska Omaha. They gave up football. So he transferred to Colorado State.
Yeah, but I want you to show you who he's beating. I'll tell you, see this right here? That's Quanjo. Cyrus Quanjo, who's an outstanding tackle, but he dipped. Did you see that, Tess? That's called running on your inside half. He dipped, ran on his inside half, got his hips up the field, and then closed. That was a thing of beauty right there. Quanjo's got to get his hands on him quicker. He's a better athlete than that.
That's a guy who many feel will be a first-team All-America this year and a top NFL prospect come the day he decides to go. And Barrett just got the best of him. And there's Tenpenny again.
Yeah, let's go back, Tess, and look at that. I want to show you a couple things with this. Now, I want you to watch Garrett. He's going to come off. Now, Get your hands up. His hands got a little lazy. Now he turned his hips open. When he opened his hips, that's when Barrett turned his hips and then came straight down. You know what I love about him? He wrestled. He's got some great toughness and understands good leverage, and you saw it right there.
And your point about that one moment where he dips and takes that inside half, and that push off of that inside half step accelerated him right past Quanjo on the outside. That was impressive by Barrett. 3rd and 12. Here's McCarron on 3rd and 12. He's going to check down underneath, and it's Drake. And look at Drake easily get to the outside with that speed and stride. And it's a first down for Alabama.
That's the piece of the puzzle that I think he brings to that running back position that the others don't have. This kid has some big play in him. He's got great speed, and he has to make you miss.
And for Alabama, with under 4 minutes to play in the game, Matt, that was the first time they converted a 3rd down tonight.
It's amazing.
That Colorado State defense did a really good job tonight to sit here against number 1, and they don't convert a 1st down until that play right there. Here's Drake again. Remember, it was Drake earlier tonight who blocked the punt. Had the touchdown run as well. Touchdown run came in the 1st quarter. And then the block punt with a get-off time of 1.84. That's a good enough get-off time, and still Drake was able to block it. Dylan Lee brought it in for the touchdown. So Drake playing a key role in 14 points tonight, and Alabama's only scored 24. And A.J. McCarron's night is done as Blake Sims is the quarterback with Derrick Henry, the 5-star recruit from Florida, in the game. And here is Derrick Henry's 2nd carry of his college career.
That's a big man.
Derrick Henry is 6'3", 238. What did Doug Nussmeier, what did Nuss, the offensive coordinator, tell us yesterday when we watched him on tape? He said he couldn't believe the size of him when he was watching high school ball.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, and I did see some highlights of him as a high school player, but he's one of those guys who's like, he's the biggest guy on the field, the fastest, the strongest, he's everything. Now, it's a little bit different here.
He's figuring out how to line up.
Exactly. It's the NCAA, but he's going to be a good player.
And Blake Sims is the junior quarterback. Came here as an all-around guy, running back, quarterback, played a little receiver. And Chris Black will take it in. And that's good to see Chris Black back in action. Last year, he hurt his shoulder in spring camp. Was an early enrollee, missed all of last year. He was actually the top recruit with Amari Cooper.
Well, he's able to score because he had some excellent blocks on the outside.
Chris Black was a guy who was one of the most talked about prospects, but obviously injuries slowing the early stages of his college career. So Alabama is going to make this score look like nothing it was just moments ago. Adam Griffith now in with the place kicking chores, and Griffith makes the extra point. (31-6) Alabama. Reminder, folks, and everybody's excited about this. It is the SEC Network. It'll launch August 2014. If you want to find out more information about the SEC Network, you can go to getsecnetwork.com. Here's what you need to know. Best conference, best football, nonstop coverage. Going to be great.
They need wrestling. You know,
let me tell you,
they used to have it.
You're going to get a lot. You're going to get a lot of non-football content on the SEC Network. They'll have many basketball games. SEC baseball is outstanding.
Yep.
Track and field is superb.
And Tesh, they used to have wrestling. LSU used to have a great wrestling program. There are a few of them.
Now, you like that in your offensive lineman.
Absolutely.
And the offensive line
and
here for Alabama has obviously undergone a transition this year as DJ Fluker and Barrett Jones and Chance Warmack were all off to the NFL after collecting the 3 championship rings. So Cyrus Kwanjo remains at left tackle, Steen at right guard, and then the 3 new faces. And they struggled a bit against Virginia Tech week 1, but they gelled well against Texas A&M, and finishing off tonight's game well as well. Here's Kaufman, and a flag comes down as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe, Tess, thank you very much. Coming up in just a few minutes at the conclusion of this game, it's BYU and Utah. Travis Wilson and company set to kick off about 10:21 Eastern. We'll be with you until game time. Tess?
The Holy War, Utah and BYU.
Illegal participation wearing same number, 2 players, number 21. The 5-yard penalty will be tacked on the end of the run. It's a first down.
That is something that they are taking more serious this year, is the participation of the same numbers. Is something that's been done on special teams in college football in the course of recent years, of possibly having a couple punters, let's say, with the same number. One's left-footed, one's right-footed. Obviously here they get it on kick coverage. This stage of the game, minute 04 left, and a 25-point margin. You're going to have some guys deeper on the depth chart getting playing time.
To sound to go back to what you were talking about, that offensive line, and I think that's still, I thought they played better last week. This week I thought they were just okay. They didn't really do much in the run game, but I think that's what Coach Saban's talking about, is a little inconsistent sometimes in the offensive line. They need to get that straightened out if they're going to make their run.
And Bibbs carries out to the 39-yard line. So Alabama sits on top of them all. And you look at that AP top 10. Of course, Oregon has been revving that offensive engine. We saw Clemson on Thursday night. Stanford was rolling on Arizona State all night long. That score is not indicative of what's happening here. They're going to have their showdown out there in the Pac-12 with Stanford and Oregon. Thomas Kaufman makes the catch, and there's going to be a couple good showdowns set to come here in the SEC, like Alabama Ole Miss. That's coming up next week. Down the road they get LSU, but that Ole Miss team, they had that thriller to open up the season Thursday night against Vanderbilt. They just dismantled Texas last week in the second half down there in Austin. You know what? One of the best recruiting classes in the nation, Ole Miss, and here's what's dangerous about them. They're young, they think they're great, and they don't know otherwise.
Absolutely. They don't know what they don't know. And also, Tess, they got big play weapons all over that field.
And Colorado State came in here and threw 3 quarters and a toe dip into the water the fourth quarter. Jim McElwain and the Rams acquitted themselves quite well. Former offensive coordinator here at Alabama. So much respect from that Alabama staff as to what he meant to this program. And that goes incomplete as he was looking for Hansley. And the maturation and development of A.J. McCarron. That is something that Jim McElwain is awfully proud of, and he has rooting interest each and every time Alabama takes the field to see what his one-time young pupil has blossomed into.
Tell you, this Colorado State team, there's some guys who showed up, and they should hold their heads up nice and high.
Especially the defense.
You better believe it. There's some guys who played like men tonight.
Grayson's going to sling it. That ball was nearly intercepted as the freshman Eddie Jackson, who they think is going to be a heck of a player down the road.
He come up with a little limp there.
Went after it. So did Landon Collins. 2 guys that are going to make up a big part of future Alabama defenses. Neon Blue didn't play tonight. A lot of young guys able to get some playing time.
Jackson's got some size, and that's exactly what Nick Saban likes. We're going to take a shot here to the end zone.
They pressure Grayson right to the end with zeros on the clock. Saban's still coaching with the headsets on. Bama's 3-0. Wasn't pretty for a majority of the night, but they did their job as Jim McElwain and his former boss will meet up at midfield. And A.J. McCarron, 28th win as a starting quarterback. Ole Miss is up next for number 1. 31-6 is our final score. Coming up next, stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard, followed by ESPN College Football Finale, Utah BYU. So long from Tuscaloosa. Let's get you back to Wendy in the studio.